Hello friends! Time to make some new yarn. Well, a new colorway at least. This week we are going to be dyeing some self-striping sock yarn. And I was thinking I want to do something inspired by crocuses. Where I live, it's a colder climate. The first crocuses of spring it's the announcement of spring. And it's always very delightful to see those. And I love the purple ones and the yellow ones in particular. So I was thinking I'm going to do a self-striping sock yarn, which is mainly purple and yellow. I may have a little bit of white in between, we'll see. But mainly purple and yellow. And what is special about this yarn, this is a yarn that is specifically made to dye self-striping socks. And for one, the skein itself is longer. Oh, I don't know how to there's a lot of yarn here. It is really long, and each section is the equivalent of, let me see, can we find one section? There's one. And so it's pretty much one row of a standard size sock. Say I make my socks on 72 stitches, using 72 stitches, and that's pretty much one row. So that's what we're going to do today, but I want some wider stripes, so I may dye the sections a little longer, and also we're going to hand paint this yarn to get our stripes. So I'll get into all of that. First, let's soak the yarn. Time to soak. First off, I'm going to grab about a tablespoon of citric acid. I'm adding that to the soaking water. You can choose to use it only when dyeing. I'm doing both just to be on the safe side. And we are going to add a zip tie to our delightfully crazy long skein here. I don't know if you can see that. It just goes on forever. Where do you go? Oh, you go that way. So yeah, it's a really long one. You'll see it more clearly once I start dyeing. But we're adding the zip tie to help us keep the entire thing organized. And I'm grabbing my soaking tub and I'm adding 2 liters of cold water. Let's see how much that is. I'm going to add another one. Oops. Just because I have a little bit larger soaking tub. I just want to make sure that the yarn is completely soaked. And now I'm grabbing the yarn. I'm not just putting it in the water, pressing it down to make sure everything gets soaked so that the dye will stick properly to the yarn, because it doesn't if the yarn is dry. Now I'm going to let it sit for about half an hour, and then we can get ready to paint our sock yarn. We're getting ready to dye. I have set up my counter here. I put out a trash bag to protect the countertop. Clean one, of course. And then I added some plastic, what do you call it, cling wrap? Saran wrap on top of that, which is where I'm going to place the yarn before I start painting it. And we got our equipment. I got 2 empty yogurt containers which are pretty much half full. It's about 500 milliliters of water in each. And I will add the dyes to these 2. I have got my face mask, of course. Always use a face mask to protect your airways. Some gloves. I'm using these foam brushes to paint the yarn. Got my little mixer thingy to make sure the dye dissolves in the water. A couple of teaspoons to grab the dye with, and I'm going to use Jacquard acid dyes in Sun Yellow. And I'm trying out this. This is from Colurcraft, acid milling dyes in the color Lilac. So I'm going to try that today for the first time. So I'm going to lay out the yarn. Oh, also, I just realized I said earlier when you soak the yarn, and I added the citric acid in the soaking tub, and I said that you don't have to do that. You can also just add the acid dye, the citric acid in the dye pan. Of course, in this case you can't. You have to have the citric acid in the soaking tub, because you are not going to use a dye pan. You are hand painting like so. So in this case you need to put the citric acid in the soak tub. Okay? Alright, I'm going to move stuff around a little bit here, and we'll get ready to paint. First off, let's mix the dyes. Make sure to put on the mask first of all, to make sure your airways are protected. And I'm going to start with a lighter color. Grabbing a teaspoon. This is what it looks like. And I want quite vibrant colors, so I'm going to go for about half a teaspoon. I'm just adding it in there. And for the lilac, that's what that looks like. I don't know if you can see that. Oh my god, my spoon's a bit too big. Let's do it like so instead. So, this is about half a teaspoon. And I'm adding that in as well. And I'm going to use my little whisker to dissolve the dye in each pot here. That's a very vibrant yellow. Can you see that? Excellent color. So I'm going to mix these two, make sure it dissolves properly, and we'll start dyeing. So I'll spread out the yarn, and I don't know if you can see it on camera now, but the ties that are every here and there on this skein, it's the same length between each of them. So I'm going to use every other length in each color. So every other length will be yellow and every other will be purple. So I'm going to start off by excuse me, painting the yarn up here, and I got one tie here, and we go all the way up here, and there's the next one. So I'm going to use yellow to paint that first. I'm going to put some gloves on, because this does tend to get a little bit messy, so be prepared for that. But it's fun. Let's see now, I might actually do two lengths, come to think of it, so that I get wide stripes, which means I would start here. I don't know, can you even see that on camera, where I'm pointing at, maybe? And I'm going to do a longer length. Does that add up? I'll have one yellow up there, and then another yellow all the way down here. And then purple, purple, yellow, where do you end? There. No, I'm gonna have to do one of each, because I think, does it add up? Nah, whatevs. I'm just gonna start painting yellow here. Can you see what I'm doing all the way out there on the edge? Yeah, a little bit. I'm just dabbing the yarn, making sure the dye soaks all the way through. Oops, that was a lot of color at once. Don't want it leaking into the other parts. That is a very gorgeous yellow. I'll probably have enough dye for several skeins of this. Okay, we are making a little bit of a mess here. Can we soak that up? There we go. This feels very springy. So I'm going to continue painting this and I'll show you what it looks like when I've gotten a little bit further. Before wrapping up the yarn, I'm flipping it over and going over the undersides to make sure we don't have a lot of white strands. Just be careful how much you use because you don't want too much water running around. Try to limit it a little bit. So that the dyes stay in their intended places. And don't start running about over into the yellow. In this case, actually the purple one turned out to be the lighter one. I thought it would be darker, but I really like this. It does have a crocusy vibe. It's not a word, but you know what I mean. There's a little bit as well. And I'm just dabbing the back side, or the side turned downwards, to make sure we get dye everywhere. And you can be quite gentle, you don't have to stab it. Just dab the color in. And that's all you need to do. Some more. Okay, I'm gonna finish this up and then we are going to wrap it all up. We are finished dyeing or painting all the yarn. So next up, we are going to wrap it. So I'm grabbing the Saran wrap again, getting some long strips and just placing it on top. And the goal here is to get it to stick to the wrapping underneath the yarn, so that we have these channels of painted yarn. making sure it overlaps. You also need to make sure it overlaps underneath when you lay this out. I don't think I said that. You don't want to spill any more than you have to. Take my word for it. Like so. There we go, and I'm going to need an old ice cream tub. I'll see if I can get one here. I'm just going to use one of these to tuck the package in before putting it in the microwave. And now we're just folding it, making a neat package. Like so. And I'm tucking it into the ice cream tub. Now I'm going to run this in the microwave. I'm going to do it in bursts of 2 minutes, 30 seconds pause, and I'm going to do that a couple of times, I think. When the yarn feels really hot, it's done. Then you can just take it out and set it aside to cool. There we go. The tub is quite hot, so I have to hold it carefully. I ran it 2 minutes at a time, twice, so 4 minutes total. And it's really, really hot now. So now we're just going to set it aside to cool down. Same principle as dyeing in a pan. And once it has cooled down completely, we can rinse it. It is time to rinse. And I'm really looking forward to unpacking this little bundle of joy. First off, got my rinsing tub here, putting in cold water. I'm going to be using soak, which is my favorite. Splash of that. Don't need to use this. You can use, you know, dish soap, shampoo, whatever you like. While that is filling up, we are going to unpack this. This is exciting. See if we can unveil the yarn. Enough. Just opening up all the plastic. There's a lot of layers here, but we're getting there. And I did remove the zip tie while I was hand painting the yarn. So I'm going to add that in again, just for ease when I'm rinsing it. I'm just going to let it slip into the bath here, the rinsing tub. It's quite wet, there's a lot of water on the counter. There we go. Set that aside. Clean up my mess. There we go. Okay. Let me see if I can find the zip tie. There it is. And since this is very long, I'm going to just grab it like such, and we're going to dunk it. The water is completely clear, so the dye has exhausted completely. Now I am going to rinse it once more. You don't have to do that with soak, but I'd like to. Let's move you in a little bit closer. There you go. I hope I didn't make you seasick. Apologies if I did. You really don't need more than that. And same thing again. I'm just gathering up the yarn since it is such long lengths. Alright. And squeezing out the water. Do not wring it, just squeeze. If you have a salad spinner you can dedicate to yarn dyeing, you can use that. I prefer to use my hands. There we go. And next step, hanging it out to dry. Apparently I have difficulties speaking today. Time to dry. Are you ready for the finished results? How about that? I'm very pleased with this colorway, this Crocus colorway, yellow and purple. I am feeling very inspired to design a new pair of socks. I haven't designed socks in the longest time, so I think I'm gonna do that with this yarn. It's been a while, but yeah, so much fun. And it's fun to just hand painting yarn. And I did do the stripes different lengths, so I'm very excited to see what that's going to do when I'm knitting the yarn. But I'm sure it will be great, awesome. So as usual, if you try this colorway or if you're inspired to do something different, tell me about it below. I would love to hear it. And yeah. Like and subscribe, of course, if you want to see more videos like this. Post every week a new yarn dyeing video for as long as I have any ideas or until you guys just get completely sick of me. But yeah, we'd love to have you. So that's it. Finished result for this week. My Crocus colorway. Smile. Yeah. I'll see you next week. Bye.
You got me feeling good, right by your side. Lost in every move, riding down your smile. Baby, hold me tight, let me trace your line.